Hello everyone and good afternoon. It's a nice Sunday afternoon here. Everything going well. So I wanted to have this stream just to summarize a bit about the trades. Actually, I didn't stream in the last few days because yeah, I wanted to finish the trades functionality and it was not that easy to finish. And I think it would have been a bit boring just to follow me trying to fix it, you know, in a different way. So I just decided to. Sorry, I'm just finishing a few other things in the meantime, but I just decided to avoid streaming until it was finished, and then to do this kind of summary stream to explain how it has been done and how and such, right? So this stream will be a bit different from the previous ones because it will not be me developing, but it will be more me explaining what I did. So I just want to put into the 1 second. I still have to do something quick. I want to put the event in our calendar just to tell that I'm streaming. So I started at which time? Like 3:45. Yeah, let's do, I don't know, 3:30. Okay, and okay, I finished. I just finished. So, okay, so let me show you what I did and how it's done. So basically, our mission about trades was to still not showing my screen, but I will in a second. I'm just preparing a few things. Let me see where I have my mission of trades. So traits are the ones that are displayed on characters, right? So for example, the color of the skin, the tattoos on the face, the hair, customization, I mean different hairstyles, you know, and things like that. So at the moment we are using the old art, I mean the current art that we have. So let me say the art is not the greatest for sure. Should be called a real character creation, a real mission, character improvement. Oh, I found it finally. Took me a bit. Let me show my screen. My screen is here. Okay. So this was the mission, right, that we had together, and we started it quite some time ago, and yeah, and I'd like to open this one, by the way, in Paint, and it's been a kind of complex. I thought it was easier at the beginning, but actually it was not that easy. First, it required a pretty deep normalization of all our assets to ensure that all the assets were actually using the same naming convention. So that took really a lot of time. And thanks to Sway for the work that he did on the normalization of that, because we had to change a lot of the names of the characters, the mesh names, the texture name, the material name. So everything has to be set up properly from the character point of view, so that with our 11 different characters, we could anyway set the traits on all of them, right? In a kind of a standard and consistent way. So that was the complexity. And so the first thing we did, we decided to have our characters divided in kind of a modular system. So divided in different pieces. So they have a torso, they have arms, they have hands. And if you follow the previous streams, obviously you know exactly what I'm speaking about. But I'm just discussing it. I'm just, let's say, explaining also for the new guys. Maybe the guys that just watched this single stream. So if you look at our characters, any character, let's take this guy. Okay, like this guy. So this guy is actually split in multiple pieces. So he has a torso, as you can see. He has arms, he has hands, head, eyes, and things like that, right? And the complexity is, for example, of this character, that this character has a skin that can change. So it's been made of different kind of stone materials or minerals. And when you want to change the color, obviously, and the texture, you have to change it on all the pieces at the same time. So there is a kind of a trait which is what we call the linked traits. So basically there is one trait which is the color, which is then affecting multiple pieces and multiple meshes, right? But then there are other traits. For example, I don't know, I can take another character. For example, on this character, blueprints, this one, right? In which there are no link traits, but maybe you are able to change the hairstyle. So you see a specific hairstyle here, but there are different hairstyles available for this character, and so you will need to change one single trait, which is in this case a mesh, and potentially a color. In fact, you see here that the hair is gray because we want to be able to colorize this particular character, right? We want to be able to colorize it, and to colorize it, the best thing is to start from the gray. Now, we are still evaluating a bit because, like, when you want a real black hair texture, doesn't seem to blend very well. So we're still doing some tests on how to do it. So the first part was really to split the characters in pieces and ensure that they were properly set up. Every character has this, say, these meshes, which are composing the character. So there is a mesh with sub meshes, and each of those has a pointer to a material, and to a mesh. And the material names and the mesh names are standardized. So all the meshes that we have the what we call the mesh name, but is, let's say, the race name. Like in this case, is stone BF, right? And then hair, which is the part of the body, and then 03 is the variation. So this allows us to connect in the database our traits. So for example, if I select in my database all the traits that we have at the moment, I'm able to connect one entry here to one specific race, this race ID, right, to a location, being hair color, hairstyle, or whatever, to obviously a name that will be displayed in the character creation, to potentially a mesh change, or a texture change, or a color change. So that all these changes are what is driving the visual changes when I select the character. Now, the complexity also is that I need to be able to do these changes in multiple places in the code. So the first one obviously is on character creation, so when I create a new character, but also when I select a character that already exists, I want to see all my traits, right? So I want to be able in this screen of the quick selection, which is this one at the moment, is very simple screen, but I have my list of characters and I want to select one, and when I select one I want to see exactly the traits and items that he has equipped. So it's not just the basic mesh, but it's exactly the same visual visuals that you will get in the game. So if he has red hair, you will see red hair, and if he has a different skin tone, you will get a different skin tone and such, right? Which obviously seems obvious, but from the code point of view, it means that we need to we need to put the traits code also there, right? Also there. So I want to show you a bit of what we did and how we did it. So I'm just thinking where to start. Maybe I can just show you what it looks in game, and then I will show you how it's done in the code. Okay. And by the way, if you have any questions, just type it in the chat. At the moment, we are streaming on YouTube and Twitch at the same time. So you can interact with me on both platforms. I should be able to see the chat of both. Right? I should be able to see the chat of both if everything works as expected. So there is the login screen, and just logging in. By the way, we really need a progress bar. Okay, we logged in. So now, as you can see, on the right side I have the list of characters, and obviously we are going to improve the UI in the future. At the moment is just so, but we will improve it soon. So when I select one of those, I want to see, you know, the character actually as it is. So I want to see the character with all his traits and all his items, okay? And as you can see, the items are properly loaded. And for example, if I select this other character for which we have different skin, which is not the base skin for this cat character, you see that it's properly applied, and also is applied to all the pieces, right? It's applied to the head, to the torso, to the arms and legs and feet and everything, right? So which is pretty good. So this is the first part of the code that I had to implement, okay? Then the second part is in the character creation, because when you create a new character and you select say you select any race, like for example you select the alien race, okay, you see the guy, and you may want to change, for example, the bird type, right? So the bird that he has, and you see here the bird type, and I mean, it's changing based on my selection. And you may also want to change the color of it. So now I'm clicking here and it's changing the color. Now here is where the colorize comes into place, and I have to say, at the moment the coloring is not really optimal. As you can see, it's a bit punch on the face, if you want, in terms of color. So it's a bit bright, but it's just a matter now of, you know, tweaking the blending of the color with the texture. I think we will reach probably a better smoother color in the future. But yeah, so this shows that in the character creation I can change the traits. And also, I don't know if you can see it easily, maybe not too much because at the moment is but I can also change the face. You see that the face is changing a bit. I don't know if it's too small on your side, but like this guy has a tattoo now on the left. It is without the tattoo, it is with the tattoo, and so on. So, and I can change the color, I can change the type of hair, you see. The only thing that I think is not done yet is if I remove the mesh, which I'm just checking it now. Like there is a setting where he has no beard, this one, but it seems it's not working as expected. So this is something I have to check. So if we decide to remove the mesh, and for example there is also a kind of bold, I don't know if I'm saying English exactly, but this one without hair, and unfortunately it doesn't work at the moment. So there is a bug, I have to fix it. But this allows you to change the traits. Also allows you to change it based on different races. Like this one, you see that the hair is changing a lot. Different type of hair, like this one with kind of a ponytail and things like that. Now I think I can change this now. I think it changes the face. Yeah, here I'm changing the face. Also, this guy has some tattoos. Now, we could zoom, we could do other stuff. At the moment, we are not doing it yet. Also, for some reason, the texture have a bit of a weird effect on them. If you see, they look a bit dark. This is something that we are just working on, but it's because we created master materials for every texture, and now is impacting a bit. So this is another example, is the female kind of dwarf character, and you see that she's changing the tail, the hair in a kind of a ponytails and such, right? You can see it here, and you can change the color, light gray, red, or whatever. So this character, the coloring seems to be a bit better. So it's not that much of a punch in the face. So I think it's a matter of how the basic texture is done, right? Even if the yellow is very yellow here, so maybe we can tone it down a bit. But like this red is not too bad. I think it's okay. Okay, so this is what this is the second part. So during the character creation, and then the third part is actually when you load into the game, because when you load into the game, you need to have as well. So after you selected the character, so let me just simulate it. I log out, I log in, I have my characters created, and I want that character to be correct in terms of traits when he's in the game, right? So if I click on play, actually a new character has been created now. So what you see is not the same character that we had in the character creation or in the selection box. So this is actually another guy, another model. Let me just try to give you a view, right? Okay. But as you can see, he has the right traits. Okay, so he's loaded up properly with the skin, which is actually applied to all the bodies, to all the body parts, right? Which is actually very cool. So just a second. Now, which other pieces I had to do? Well, other pieces I had to do was, yes, the fourth piece is that we don't want only this character to be colored this way, but we also want the other players, right, to properly see the traits correctly when they join. And it obviously seems to be something obvious. Seems obvious, but it's not obvious from the code point of view. In the sense that when another player joins in, is loading the basic model, but is not loading all the traits of the other model, and so we need to explicitly tell to the engine that we want this stuff to be replicated to the other to all the players connected. So that's basically the point, right? To all the players connected. So how to do that? I will show you a bit of what I did. I think pretty much now is fully working. The only part that is not working, as I said, is the removal of some of the traits, like no beard or no hair or something like that. I just realized now that it's still pending. but apart from that should be good. So let me show you in the code. Let me show you in the editor actually how that has been done. So I mean, it's a bit long. I think it's a bit complex to show you all the pieces, but I will try to where do we start, boys? I think we can start from the how traits are. Yeah, let's start maybe from the code. How traits are declared in our code. So we actually have a class which is called PS traits, which is this one, which is a structure. Actually, it's not a class. It's a structure which is holding all the pieces needed for the traits to be shown. So in particular, it holds our unique ID for the traits, if there is a linked trait, so the next trait, the race that is applicable, the gender, the location. Location means hair, face, beard, or whatever. The name that has to be displayed in the window, and then these variables which are pointing to the mesh, to the texture, and to the other. And yes, and this is the color, and this is the color of the hair, for example. So it's the color variable. Okay, so this structure is actually declared as a U structure for Unreal Engine, and this means that we can see it in the blueprints without any problem, right? So in fact, if I go to my blueprint and I search for a trait, I could take this trait and I could break it up. If I do break PS trait, I see the full structure in the blueprint, so I can see all of this with all the parameters that you just saw in the code, but now they are here in the available to the blueprints, right? Yeah, by the way, I don't want to change this guy. I can avoid changing this guy because I didn't do any changes at the moment. So I can just revert. Asset location, asset reload. If you do like this, the reload, it will just reload from the disk and not change it. Okay, so so the first thing, yes, is to create a structure for the traits and then use this in our blueprints. Then where do we have the code? Well, the code is mostly on the character creation here. So well, also on the selection widget, which is the widget here where we select. Most of the code is here, and as you can see, as soon as we select the new character, we have a section dedicated to keep the visible items, and we have a section dedicated to setting the traits, which, by the way, maybe this one I want to change because I want to keep it nice and clean. And the traits are coming, you see, is an array of PS trait structure, so it's an array of this structure you just saw, and it's coming from the selected character entry. So we keep within the entry in the UI, we keep the reference to that. Okay, and so we have all the traits. We just then cycle on all the traits and we set the trait. So how do we set it? Well, setting the trait is not that simple. As you can see, I can zoom out a bit. Is not a very simple graph. But basically, we split by trait location. Trait location is telling us if the trait is a beard, hair, color, skin, or something else. Right? And based on that, based on the type, we do different things because obviously we have to do different things. So if is in this case a face change or a skin tone change or an eye color change, so these are all the ones that are asking the engine to change the texture. So what we do, we switch based on that. And yeah, there is a bit of a switch on string because I mean there is a reason for it, but I know it's not the most elegant way, but anyway, it's the way we are doing it now. And from this, I basically set the material on the specific body part. And in this case, I'm still on the character selection, so I'm not too worried about replication to other clients. The character selection is only client side, is only local, so only the player that is actually selecting his character, creating his character, will see the changes. Okay, no one else will see the changes. Even more, the character that is manipulating doesn't really exist server side. It's only created on the client, right? Which is, I think, a good simplification. For it's a good simplification. Then, if it's a hair, mesh, or body part, then we means that we need to replace. In this case, we need to replace the hairstyle, right? And this is where I think we need to add the part about the removal of the mesh. But in this case, we are really replacing the mesh. So the first thing that we do a kind of a substitution with the name, because our names are, say, parametric, so are made in a way that it can be valid for all the possible races. And basically, when you have $race, means that you just have to substitute the mesh name in that piece. And when you have $P, you just have to substitute it with the body part. P stands for part, so the body part, like hair, for example. And this will create the reference, so that this substitution will basically create the reference to the real one, right? The real mesh, which will be, in our case, for example, I can just take, I don't know, let's say one of the hair changes. Like hair 02, so if I copy the reference, right? If I copy the reference, the result will be something like, let me open a new screen, something like this, okay? It will be something like this. So it will point to skeletal mesh, gain character, stone BF, stone BA, blah 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 blah. Okay, so this is how it will point to. Now, this is good because it's parametric for us. And being parametric is pretty nice because we can apply the same to all the characters. So if you have another character that has hair 02, hair 03, it will work perfectly. And just because we are using the same naming convention. Okay, so that's the main point. Just 1 second. I was checking something else. Okay, so and that is the character creation. Now the complexity is when you are in game, because in game, as I said, you need to have a replication of all of this to all the other characters and to all the other players, right? So to do that, actually, if we look in our character blueprint, I think it's inside the character blueprint and is in the part where we set, for example, let's do, for example, the keep item is the same, right? The keep item is where we have the same settings. The settings are for, so this variable, there are some variables on my character which are set to be rep notify. Rep notify means that this variable, when this variable will change, it will be automatically be notified to all the other players in the game. So every client will receive a notification that this variable actually has changed, and I can execute some code on it. And in particular, as you can see here, if I double click on it, I have a function which is just triggered when this variable is changing its value. And so in this case, when the item in the left hand is changing, I'm executing this code, right? And so what it means is that I'm going to equip or setting the material or doing whatever I need to show properly, the item on the client side for all the people. So in the same way, I do something similar, but this time I did it by code. I don't know exactly why, but I just wanted to test, I guess, the different way. But I did it by code. I have inside my PS character. If I search, yeah, maybe also this one. Yes, I have some functions. I think the one to search is this one. On wrap, right? There it is. So what I tell to my engine is that my character, my PS character, has a variable which is called traits, which is actually replicated to all the clients automatically whenever it's changing. So the engine is the engine can do this for us like a trigger. When this happens, he automatically triggers for us a certain function, and in this case, we are telling the engine which function we want to call. So we are using replicated using equal to, and then the name of the function. So this is the actual name of the function that obviously you need to declare, and you see here that it's declared, and you need to implement, which will be called client side. And this is a very important point, client side, when that happens, right? So I had some issues with the fact that it was immediately client side, because it was, usually in all my blueprints, I have a server-side call, and then when the server-side call is completed and I do all the parsing and normalization, everything I have to do there, then I call the client, right? So that's the idea. That's what I use all the time. But in this case, it's already going client-side. So if you look at the implementation of this function, at the moment it's pretty simple. So it just prints out something because I want to know if it's going through that function. And then what I do, I just call this one, which is set traits on wrap, which is actually a blueprint callable, blueprint implementable event, actually. Blueprint implementable event function. So basically, from the C++ code, I switch to blueprints. So this function is going to be available in our blueprints. So if I search for this one in my blueprints, I don't remember exactly where is it, but it's here somewhere. I think it's in PS character somewhere. Okay, here it is. So as soon as we trigger from the C++ code that call, then we arrive here, and we are already client side. And this is what he messed it up with me at the beginning. So I did a lot of tests, and I wasted a bit of time really trying to understand what was going on, but it's client side, right? So being client side means that you cannot access server side information. So we have this issue of the linked traits. So actually in the database, if I show you what we have only one trait. For example, this one is the Enki character, and is the cat looking character. So this one doesn't have all the linked traits listed, unfortunately. Right? If I do a refresh, let me see. Yes, this is only this one. It doesn't have all the linked character listed, but traits listed, but it only has the top one. So it only has the one that is, in this case, associated to the head of the character, and then there is another table somewhere else that is telling you that this head trait is connected to the other pieces of the body, and you have then to change all the pieces of the body accordingly. And the way that you know that is through this table, which is called traits. If I go and search, what was it? 210. Maybe let me put it in order here. If I go 210, this one, you see that the next trait is 211, then 211 is 212, 12, 13, 13, 14, 14, 15, and then 15, nothing. So there are actually 6 different traits for each body part, which are affecting the head, the arm, the hand, the torso. So this was a bit of a complexity, I have to say, unfortunately, to manage in the code. because we cannot just load from the database the traits and apply to the character, but we have to check if we have a linked trait, and based on that go and apply. So this was a bit of a mess, I have to say. This is what it took me most of the time to figure out how to do it. But at the end, from the server to the client, what I decided to do, I decided to have two separate functions that are triggering the traits and the linked traits. So there are two separate functions with two different sets of attributes, two different variables. Okay, so one is called traits, the other is called linked traits, and both of them are on rep notify. So when they are changed, we get the notification on the client side. Okay, I don't know, maybe this is too technical for all of you, but I think that some guys, they want to do the same. Maybe we look at the stream and it would be very helpful for them. Okay, and so, but obviously if you are a player or if you're just a fan of what we're doing, this may be a bit technical, but anyway, sorry for that. But just trying to explain how we do it. It can be useful to other people. This was the first piece. The second part was that not always we are using this, because we are using this technique when the character is actually in the game. But when you are in character creation or in character selection, unfortunately, that character doesn't yet exist on the server anywhere. And so you cannot use this rep notify. So this is why this thing has been a bit complex, because you actually have two different ways of doing it. One purely client side when you are in character creation, and one which is server side and on rep notify, so replicating to notifying the replication to all the other clients when you are already in the game, right? And that is why it's been a bit complex. So how we do the link traits for let me just search for linked. I think I should be able to find it. Link traits. No, I don't want this one. I don't want this one. There is another place. There is another place. Yes, exactly, this one. So I don't know if you want to take a screenshot of this, but there is just a simple logic. Well, not very, very simple, but anyway, it's just a logic to navigate the table that you just saw before. So to navigate the traits table, the characters trait table, which may have linked traits, right? And so what it is doing is basically looping on each of the character traits that I have, identifying if this one by any chance has a next trait associated. You see that here is trying to understand if there is a next trait. If there is a next trait, then is getting it and is going back into the loop to search the next trait again, and it does it continuously until there is no next trait anymore, right? And so in our database table, basically it's going through this sequence: 2010, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and then we arrive here. We understand there is no link traits anymore, and so our cycle breaks, and from that cycle we just know that we have them all, and then for each of them, because we put them into an array, for each of them we just apply the traits. We just set the trait on the character. Okay, so this is how we do it. It works pretty well on different on the different body parts, and I was very happy that it was actually completed. Now we just have that small piece to do, which is the removal of the mesh that maybe we can do now. But let's say this first part of the stream is completed. I just wanted to show you and share with you how it was done. Okay, I don't know if I want to stop the stream or continue, but I wanted to have like a small set, you know, just to explain how it's done. But maybe we can continue just to try to do the removal of the mesh. Now, yeah, when there is no bird, I don't remember exactly. Let's take the bird example, which I think is the best one and the easiest one. when there is a no bird, I don't remember in the database which kind of trait we have. So let me see. I think it should be bird style. Yes, no bird. Okay. So yeah, basically when there is no bird, the string mesh is empty. Okay, it is always true. When it's bold, the string mesh is empty. Yes, seems to be always true. But it's only for the bear style, so we should not mess up, because for example when we have the air color, we don't want to remove the mesh, right? So it has to be specifically for bird style and hairstyle. Yes. Okay. Now the question will be, do we have an entry point for all the 3 places that I told you? So character creation, character selection, and in-game, where we can do this check if it's empty. I think the answer is yes, because we have in our set trait on the character, this should be the best place to do it, right? If I go here and I select set trait, hopefully this witch is done here one time and for all. The only point is that my mesh, I have to check if this one, my string ID mesh, is actually empty. Where is this going? So hairstyle and bird style. Let's do bird style first, okay? So bird style is here. No, bird style is not here. Where is it? Bird style is this one. Okay, bird mesh is this one. So we are getting. So I think we need to print out. Well, I think I have the printout already. I need to understand if it's not empty. Okay, so that is the thing. So if it's not empty, if it's empty, I think we should remove it. So there is the part where we should remove the mesh. If it's empty, yeah. So I think it's not that hard, because I just need to set mesh bear to empty, and I think we'll be done. Should we try? I think I just need to get from my character, I'm in the character already, I have a pointer to each of the body parts, so I can just get mesh bared and set it to nothing. Obviously, this means that if for some reason I'm not finding the reference to that particular row, I will remove the bird anyway. So I think that I will place a print just for safety for the future. Otherwise, maybe we will never remember. Which is saying something like removed bird mesh as no mesh ID in set trait call. Well, it's a bit long thingy, but I think it's okay. So this is basically saying that if we don't get an ID or a valid ID, then yeah, the bird mesh will be set to empty. I think we have to do exactly the same for the hair mesh. Where is the hair mesh? Is here? Yeah, exactly. So we have to do exactly the same for the hair mesh. So we will set this to null, and I can copy the same printout, I guess. And I will just say removed hair mesh, because the mesh ID, blah, blah, blah. Okay? Okay, let's see what it does, because in theory it may already work. I think if we set the mesh to empty, it should just disappear. I mean, I'm not 100% sure, but I'm assuming that it's doing that. Hopefully. If it's that easy, that would be very nice. That would be very, very nice. If it's that easy. Okay, we saved. Right, we saved it, right? Yeah, I think we saved it. Okay, so let's launch the server and the client. And see that. Okay, let's log in. Let's log in pretty quick. One second, I'm doing other stuff at the same time. Okay, sorry, we're just handling something else. So the point is we need to create a new character and we can see if I select goatee. Okay, if I go back, no, it didn't work. It didn't work for some reason. Let me see if it works with the hair for some reason. No, it doesn't. It doesn't. So we need to check why it's not removing the mesh. By the way, unfortunately, the names are not matching the style. I don't know exactly why, but okay, we will figure it out. But for sure, when I select no bird, right? When I select no bird, the number that is going in should be. So I think what we need to do, boys, we need to print out also, because I think otherwise we don't get it. We should print out also this string just to be sure, and maybe even this one. So let's do it for the bird. We should print out before this. Let me put a print here. We should print out with append. We should print out. Let's print out so bird mesh. I want to print out first of all this number, which is coming from the mesh ID, which to me should be 0. If there is no bird, it should be 0. Then I want to print out also the actual string. So let's say data row, right? And this data row is this, but this one will be empty most likely. This one will be empty, I think. This one will be empty. Okay, let me try to see what happens now. Launching the client and the server and seeing. login. So I want to see when I click here what happens, and if we get any printout on the client side. It says set trait no bared, so up to here I think we are fine, but when I switch it, what happens? If I switch it, it says bird mesh 102, data row, blah blah blah. Okay, if I go back to no bared, it does freaking nothing. It stops before that. Okay, it's not reaching this point. It's not reaching this point, so it's like if it's stopping before this call. Stopping before this call. Why, boys? Setting traits on client. We only got this one. We only got set trait start. This is what we got. Maybe we can search this and see where is it. It's actually here. Set trait start. So clear all variables. She's doing all of this. So for some reason, is not probably in this nice loop here. Probably in this nice loop here is not considering the case in which we have no mesh. Okay, so how do we fix this? How do we fix this? That's a good point. How do we fix this? Well, or do we do a check before this? Because it is actually inside a character creation, but we will have the same problem also in game. We will have the same problem also in game, because it is another kind of exception. You know, you are not setting a trait, you are removing a trait, you are removing a mesh piece. So this one is on the character creation. Or we intercept it before this part. So we intercept it like here, and we say if the mesh ID is empty, then do something. The weird thing is that anyway, our trait. Now, but I think we should arrive at least up to here. Right? I think so, because we are not checking if the mesh is empty. So I think we arrive here. But for some reason, row not found. Okay. So this check is a bit stupid. Okay, basically it's going out here. It's going out here on row not found. It's going out here. So if the row is found but is empty. By the way, this will never happen. This will never happen to me. This will never happen. We don't have in our data table empty. But what it may happen is that the row is not found. Yeah, so I think we should connect it here actually, and not here. We can still do this, but I don't think this will ever happen. I don't think this will ever happen. So I think the problem is that I have to connect the row not found to this. And now probably is okay. Let me see. Let me see. Okay, everything is saved. Let me launch it again. Let me launch it again. Okay. So now if I select this guy and I go here. Oh. Okay, now it's not setting anything. Why now is not working at all anymore? Okay, now nothing is working anymore. What did I do? I mean, I just changed this, right? Bird mesh data row. What did I do? Why it broke so bad? Remove their mesh. So he's saying this. I think I understand. Yeah, so it's a bit more complex than this. Is a bit more complex than this. The problem is that now I'm making empty. No, this is not good. Or we need an empty mesh. But it's a bit stupid to have an empty mesh. Because what is happening now is that as soon as I have the option without, so for example, for the Stonebreaker female, I think it will work. The change will work anyway. Yeah, exactly. You see, this one is not broken. This one is not broken, and the reason it's not broken is that for this guy, whenever I click, and I don't know if it's done already. Yeah, it's done already at the beginning. So if I set my mesh bird to empty, the first time it works okay, but the second time when I click again, he arrives here. No, wait. Where do I set? Because this mesh bird is now empty. So if the variable points to something empty, it loses the reference basically. It's annoying though. How is possible? Is losing the reference? This is not very good. So what is happening is that if I assign a new mesh to mesh bird with set skeletal mesh, then it works okay. If I set an empty mesh on it, it just lose the reference forever, and so it gets disconnected from the character, and I cannot set it again. This is a bit weird though. It's a bit weird. It's like if this set is, if I leave it empty, so I cannot really leave it empty. So that's the point. I cannot really leave it empty. That is annoying though. I cannot leave it empty. If I leave it empty, I will not be able to set it again, because it's not pointing anymore to my character. It's not pointing anymore to this thing. Well, what I could do, I mean, if it's empty, I can get again the reference, but the problem is that the reference of this thing is done here, you see? So I'm setting this variable equal to this guy, this mesh bird 0. I think we need an empty mesh. Which is still a reference, but I don't understand why it's losing the reference. This is very confusing for me. Why is losing the reference? Why when I set this, because At the beginning, mesh beard. Okay, mesh beard is pointing to this. It's pointing to a component which is on my character, which, for example, in this case, has no skeletal mesh associated. So it's anyway an empty, you know, an empty thingy. Ah, I think I understand. I have to set the mesh inside the mesh component as empty, not the variable as empty. Okay. I think it's doable. Wait. I think I understand how I have to do it. I think I need to get, let me try. Get the mesh beard, get the skeletal, no, get the, what? The skeletal mesh? Right. And I set it as empty. I set the new mesh as empty. So this should remove the mesh. Okay? But keep the reference. Exactly. In fact, what I do here, I set the skeletal mesh. Okay. I used the wrong function, boys. I think we are good. I hope so. Let me try to do it here as well. I was using the wrong one. So here we set this to no, I have to take the mesh here and say yes, on this one you remove the skeletal mesh associated, which basically, if you look at it from here, is just removing this part, right? It's just making this empty, but it's not removing the reference. So okay, nice. I think this may do it. Okay, compiled everything, and I'm trying to launch it again. Okay. Ah, actually there's no hair, which is correct because it's bald and no beard. Okay, let me see if I change it and I go back. Ah, it works now. Boys, we fixed it. Very nice. Okay, so it works okay now. So I think very good. So we can also have no mesh, right? We can also have no mesh. So no mesh is actually an option. Now the point will be to check if I go with really, let me see how many characters I have. I already have 4 characters, so I have to delete one. I think I can delete this one. Yeah, they appear one on top of each other because there is still a small bug. If I remove this character, I log out and I log back in. I create a new character. Let's try to create a character which has no beard, no, exactly. Maybe it's slightly different. The one with the tattoo maybe is more recognizable. Yeah, like this guy. Obviously, at this point, the color of the hair doesn't make any difference because I have no hair, but it's okay. So let's try to upload this character and see what happens. Yeah, this error I don't know why it's popping up, but anyway, yeah, but the character in game has no hair and is actually as expected. So the character is fine. He has his tattoo on the face. Right? He has his tattoo on the face and he's bald with no beard. Which is very nice. Let me see what happens if another character connects. Just to be sure, because we want always to triple check, you know, that we are not messing up with the networking, but I think it should be okay. So the other character in theory will see him as bald and no beard. Let's connect with whatever, this guy or this guy. Let's connect with this guy. Okay, where is the, oops, where is the other guy? We have to kind of find it. I think it's just is there. Yeah, it's bald and no beard. Okay, so it's correct. The set trait works properly. So we have the same view of this character from this other guy, so it works okay. Now, just to be sure that we didn't break anything, let's try to put back a new. Let's try to make a new character with some hair and some beard, because I just want to be sure that we didn't break anything, you know. Why I stopped the server? No idea. Let's create one which has, well, we have one which is the dwarf, right? The dwarf has hair and beard, so I think they just log in with that and it should be fine. But yeah, I think it works basically, so I think it's okay. I don't see any issue with this. If I connect like with this guy, yeah, yes, both beard and so I think we are fine. I think we fixed it, which is very nice. We fixed it. Now the point will be to be sure that we are, improving a bit all the characters. And also we fixed the textures being dark, but the system works. So I'm able to switch properly traits on beard, hair, skin tone, and everything else properly. If you want, we can test also the clan model. I think we had a clan model as well, right? Let me see. If we want to create a new clan with different skin, I think it should be possible as well, and it will work exactly the same way. So just 1 second. Okay. So if we go and try to create a new clan with different skin types, I think it will work as well. Let me try this. Change the color. Yeah, it's working okay. Okay, so everything is working okay. So I think we can complete, our traits mission. Well, the mission actually was about character creation, so there was a lot more into it than just this, as you can see from the list. So there was a way more, but the place that we did is this one is done. This one is done, and okay, I always try to find a nice market. Allow change of skin color with U shift. This one at the end we didn't do. Display first trait when I click on race gender. That is correct now. So it is done. Well, actually, maybe I can switch these two because this one was kind of a, kind of an advanced stuff, which I don't know really if we want to do. Maybe we want, maybe we don't want. I don't know. I have to think about it. Probably we want. Yeah? Probably we want. But this one is done. Now, dual view not centered. Yeah, dual view not centered. Yes, but it is not something I want to tackle now. I think it's okay. I think we can consider this one completed. The only point is this about the skin change, the skin U shift. But it's more of a wishful thinking than, it's more of a parking lot kind of thing than something we want to do today. So I will keep it in this list for kind of future reference. Yeah, the advanced character creation, I know. And this one as well is something that we may think in the future. But at the moment, I don't want to add more functionality we currently have because it's we had in the previous game, because it will be too much work, and I want to go to the state of the previous game first and then expand on top of it. Otherwise, I will just get lost for months in doing something new, and it's just going to mess up with our schedule. So I think we can consider this mission completed. Yeah, I would consider this mission completed. I would put all of these pieces in a kind of a parking lot, which is additional ideas, additional stuff that can be done. Like the advanced character creation is for sure nice to do. But I don't want to do it now. I think there are more important things to do. I will call this parking lot, and yes, and for now we can consider the mission completed. I would say let's consider it completed. Nice. Improve the character creation. Okay, I think I will end the stream here because I just wanted to give you an update of everything that has been done and fix some of the parts that were missing about the no mesh. I may stream later today again, maybe tonight, but we really need to think, guys, what to do next. Because we have in our roadmap we have a bunch of stuff which is not done yet, like, I don't know, petitions, body friends, help, skinnable UI. I don't know if it's really needed, but yeah, I mean, we did a lot already. Economy manager, combat stances, combat queue, combat PvP. I mean, all of this. Maybe we can focus again on combat. This could be an idea. Spell particles, yeah, we need to do that. Music, not too important. Tutorial, not too important. Weather manager. This one I think is a very, very important one. I should tackle sooner or later, and probably sooner than later. This one, is a fundamental functionality of the game, and I think I have to do it. Maybe the next time we will do this. Basically, I need to understand how to manage multiple guild houses and how to manage instance at guild houses. I don't know if we will have to go really into the code of Unreal, but I don't want to spawn another server. I see people, I mean, the standard answer to this is that you have to create another server to manage instances, and this seems to me completely stupid. Completely stupid. Because it's like shooting with a cannon to a fly, like we say in Italy. So it's overkill, you know. Why have to start a new server to manage just a temporary instance of something? I mean, it doesn't make sense to me. Hello, Soup. So I think I have to deeply think about it, but I think the next thing I'm gonna do is this one. It is the next thing I'm gonna do because it's the hardest nut to crack that we have to crack now. If we don't do this right, our game will not work. If you want, I can explain you how we do it today, but maybe I can do another stream on it. Let me reason a bit about it. Let me think about it. So I come up with maybe with some possible solutions and ideas, and then we start to test this. Okay. And I have one guy I think I can speak about. I can speak with, which was the guy from. Which was the guy that built actually. So it was called Real Engine Pro MMO, something like that. Yeah, this guy, Pro MMO. So this thing, and I know him, and has been also on the stream sometimes. His system was managing server instances. The problem is that server instances and server shard horizontal scaling so server instances create dungeon raids, guild halls, and player vaults with instantiate themselves automatically. So that's exactly the point. But I think what he's doing is launching another server, and I don't want to launch another server at all. Server shard automatically creates server to handle increased load. I don't know. That is okay. Also interesting, but because you know, for us, okay. Anyway, I think it requires another stream. I cannot do it in this stream, but this is the next thing we're gonna do. I will really start to think, to break my head, to bump my head on the wall until I fix this. Okay, it's decided, boys. Okay, with that said, I think I will close the stream. Thanks you for watching, and for the one that just joined now, I'm sorry, but I'm gonna close the stream. We did a good change on the hair mesh and trades, and we finished all of it. You can go back and watch it, and yeah, and I think it's good. I just need to remove this freaking printout, and so connect this to this. I remove the printout, and I think we are good. Hopefully we didn't break anything. Okay, see you, boys. See you soon. And if you want to help, connect to our Discord and or send me a message on YouTube or Twitch, and so we can chat. We need more people to help us to finish this porting. So as soon as you can, if you have time, help us, because at the moment I'm pretty much, well, not completely alone, but on the code side, I'm the main one, right? The main guy, but we need more. See you. Bye bye. Hey, everyone arrived now that I'm leaving? Hello, Maui. Hello, Tua. Hello, Sway. I may stream later on, but I decided to leave. Thank you for joining anyway.